Hello everyone, Vickieverlie here. Today we're going to do a short video about the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. Now the nodes are something that I work with a lot, especially when I do the soul readings, because you can tune into the nodes. I do it psychically, and it talks about like your past lives, and then your North Node is your soul mission. And this is something that I've been into esoteric astrology for decades now, and it's something that I really, it's kind of my jam. So I guess I could say I know a lot about it, or I vibe with it a lot, I use it a lot. Let's just start with just some explanation. So the North Node is a dragon's head, and the South Node is a dragon's tail. The North Node is in your natal chart when you were born with. It's like your true north. It's the thing that you're shooting for on an esoteric level, on a soul level. You know, we all have our wants and desires, but our soul came here with a soul mission. We came here with a purpose and a soul mission. And you can find out more about that by looking into your North Node, because overall that is going to be the thing that you're shooting for in the big picture. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of other things. The 7th house will be relationships, there'll be 5th house children. There'll be all these other things going on in your life, career, and so on. But there is this overarching theme that is the North Node in your personal chart. I was going to say personal reading, because I do offer those personal readings, these soul readings. I dive into a lot of that in past lives. But this is about for the collective. Now, in the natal chart, everybody has this ideal of what their life is going to be about before they incarnate, and what their life purpose is going to be, and what they're going to accomplish in their incarnation, basically. But each and every one of us, we get off the path. Everybody veers off the path. First, maybe just a little bit off the path, because we're not following that straight up and down thing. So we might veer off the path just a little bit. But then next thing you know, we're off in this other direction. We're off on this other trajectory, this other timeline. And we're getting further and further away from our true North Node. So that's why, like when I do the readings too, just even the regular readings, I always tell people this, when these big transits will come through and activate your own personal North Node, it's an opportunity to, bam, lock back into place. You might be gone off here, or you may have gone off here, but this North Node always remains true here. And these opportunities come along. Now, by transit, it depends on the transit. I tell people this all the time, too, like if it's a Saturn transit or a Pluto transit, a Saturn transit will push you back over there. It'll make going down this other trajectory too difficult. It'll make things difficult for you. Pluto will just take it away. Like if you're on this other, maybe the job just disappears and it forces you, make a change. Now by other things, if there's like a Venus or Jupiter transit on your North Node is really nice, because that's like, hello, here's this bright shiny object. It draws you, it attracts you. So that it'll attract you back towards. Instead of pushing, you might be over here and be like, oh, what's that? I want to go see what that is. And then you'll veer over, and you'll go after this bright, shiny object up here. So it comes and goes in different ways, and those are things that I definitely dive into when I do personal readings. But this is about the transiting node for the collective. However, like I just got through saying, everybody has your own natal North Node. So some people will be having a nodal return at this time. Now when you have a nodal return, a full cycle of the node takes about 19 years, 18 to 19 years. So every 18 to 19 years, the North Node comes back to the natal spot of the North Node in your chart. Now here's some dates for you. This first part up here is when the North Node was in, these are the dates when the North Node was in Pisces, as it is now, it's just happened, and the South Node was in Virgo. So if you were born during any of these dates, you're actually having a nodal return. And nodal returns are big, all that stuff I said about the alternative timeline and trajectory, nodal returns are big times when people can snap back into place too. So if you were born during these dates, you may be having a nodal return. These dates are also important or useful to look into for everybody. Because whatever was going on in your life during these other time frames, these are maybe the issues that are coming up again for you to deal with again. I like to think of it as like a ride around the merry-go-wheel or around the Ferris wheel, I just heard round and round she goes, where she stops nobody knows. But yeah, so maybe so the last one was, let's go by the last one here. The last one was June of 2006 through December of 2007. So at that point, all of us set some cycle in motion, okay? And we've taken it full turn. We've done the whole 18, 19-year cycle. Oh, this way, actually. We've done the whole 18, 19-year cycle, and we're back to square one. We can either get off the ride, and it's like, okay, well, that was fun. I learned something. You know, that was an experience. We can either get off the ride and we're free to get off the ride. We're always free, but we're even more free. The cycle's ending. And you can say, well, do I want to go another 18, 19 years on this? Or am I done with that cycle? And would I like to initiate a new beginning and a new cycle in my life in whatever sector, which we're going to go around and do sign by sign in a minute. We'll talk about it. But there's the other thing. There's the halfway mark. So this time around, okay, the North Node is in Pisces and the South Node is in Virgo. And as I said, it takes about 18, 19 years. I keep going that way. Because it does travel backwards. That's why I keep doing it. It takes 18, 19 years for it to go full circle. But there's the halfway point. There's a point in between where it'll be exactly the opposite, where the North Node was in Virgo and the South Node is in Pisces. There's other people are calling it other names, but I've always called it when you're having a nodal opposition. Okay, so a nodal opposition is where the nodes are at the halfway point or in opposition to your natal nodes. So these are the years on that, when that happened. Here, take a look. And the ones that, if you were born during these dates, any of these dates, you're actually having a nodal opposition. I have to get a quick sip of water, sorry. And a nodal opposition is the halfway point. Now, it's particularly potent or powerful if you're having a nodal return now or you're having a nodal opposition, if you were born during these dates. Because what it is, I think of it as a check-in. It's like the halfway point. It's like, okay, well, then when the node was up here, I made this intention. I decided I was going to start this new cycle, get on that Ferris wheel or that merry-go-round. I was going to start that new cycle. And now we're halfway through. So how's it going? You know, we're checking in. It's a check-in point. How's it going? How's that working out for you? And this is also a key point where you could definitely, maybe not get off the ride altogether, but you could definitely, make some alterations, make some adjustments. It's a good point to check in. How's this working out for you? And this is about every 8 to 9, about 9 years in. So we have the node in at a certain point. About 9 years later, it comes down here a little over 9 years, and then about 18 to 19 to get up to this full cycle here. So that's just a little bit of background on the nodes. Now I'm going to go through sign by sign. We're going to talk about it a little bit of astrology quickly, and then I'm going to also just throw a couple cards for what maybe some further insights into what this whole thing could mean for you. Okay, so let's look at the Aries, starting with the sign of Aries, okay? So this nodal axis right now, this is the North Node in your 12th house, and the South Node is in your 6th house. So it just got out of your own, being in your own sign, which was intense. And here's the other little thing that goes along with it. Wherever the nodes are, that's where we have the eclipses. So you've been having these eclipses in your sign in Libras, right? A lot about soul searching and your relationships. And now we're going into the 12th and 6th. The 12th is very much about the past. It's all about psychic energy. You could be having big psychic awakenings right now for Aries. Big psychic insights, downloads. People from the past could be showing up for sure. That's a big thing that happens when the North Node goes through your 12th house. And the people that are showing up in your life from the past at this time, you do have some past life connection with them. Sometimes it's surprising. I noticed, was happening? Something was happening in my chart, and all these people from the past were showing up, and it was really shocking to me that I would have any kind of past connection with them, because honestly, in this incarnation, I didn't, they were all old bar patrons from my parents' bar, and it was surprising. And that, when you have that knowledge is power. It's just like, oh wow, really? So that was surprising. Oh, this thing's upside down. I've got it setting on this tissue because it won't quite lay flat. And now it's not going to lay flat at all for me. Oh, darn it. It's such a cool And it's got the pointing thing and everything. It's a wand. It's actually a necklace. That's why it won't lay flat. There's this attachment on the necklace in the back. Oh, maybe I got lucky. There it is. Okay. So yeah, a lot of things from the past, a lot of things from ancestors and spirits. You may be getting messages from your ancestors and spirits. South Node in the 6th, it could just be, South Node is what you got to let go of. So 6th house, work habits, health habits, changing of bad health habits and things like that. In this reading, we're going to focus more on the North Node and less on the South Node. But let's go ahead and pull 2 cards for Aries about this upcoming nodal cycle, which is, by the way, about the next 18 months or so. Well, I have the exact date here, until July of 26. So what's going to be the overall influence or advice for Aries? Let's see. So we're going to do 2 cards. This is very similar to what I do in the weekly Patreon. I do astrology and then 2 cards. Let's see. Have strengths. Big decisions are going to be being made here. Okay, I can see that we can't quite see it all. Let's get it up here a little better. Then I might even have to zoom out a hair. How's that? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Have strength. I feel like what I want to tell you for this reading is that you're going to be getting strength through your ancestors. Sometimes, Aries, you can be too, and your spirit guides, 12th house here, learning from your past. Sometimes you can be too impulsive. With these 2 cards, I want to say that you need to slow down, make decisions, listen to your guidance, listen to your past, learn from your past and listen to your guidance from your ancestors. I'm getting that so strong for you. It's interesting that I'll often use this card for Leo, and the node is going to move out of there in next year, in 2026, when we're in the sign of Leo. So I want to say by the time we get to the sign of Leo, also you're going to be more strong, you're going to be more grounded, you're going to be more sure. Well, you're going to be getting more on solid ground because the eclipses aren't happening in your sign anymore. So you're going to be calming down. Although other planets are moving in your sign, that's a whole other story. But overall, take time to listen to your higher guidance and your ancestors, and you're going to become stronger for it. Okay, next we're going to take a look at the sign of Taurus, or Taurus rising. If you know your rising sign, this is more particular to your rising, but you could get stuff out of it for if you're not, even sun signs sometimes can get stuff out of it. So, North Node in your 11th house and South Node in the 5th. This is about, the North Node in the 11th is definitely about striking out, meeting new people, being in new groups, pursuing your goals, because this is hopes, wishes, is that hopes, wishes, and dreams? It's also money from the career. You can make great strides from career. But it's a time to kind of be more social. You're another sign here that's had your feathers ruffled pretty much. Here's your first card here. It flew out. You are somebody who's also had your feathers ruffled over the last several years because you've had Uranus in your sign. So this is kind of like you've been pulled out of a lot of things. Your life's been shaken up. This is like to seek out new groups and new friendships and new connections for a career and things like this. Hopes, wishes, and dreams. Aligning your goals with your hopes, wishes, and dreams. 5th house, letting go in the 5th house. It's romance, so it could have to do with love affairs and things like that. If there's any old love affairs or things like that that's been holding you back. Okay, here's your 2 cards. 9 of Pentacles just flew right out. So 9 of Pentacles talks about, there's financial gains, getting your career together. Often the 9 of Pentacles is that card of the independent person, the entrepreneur, the independent contractor, having your own business, something like that. This air sign energy is going to be important, perhaps, as far as it might be a person, an air sign person, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or Libra. But it also could just be you being more communicative, being more sociable, as I was pointing out for the 11th house, okay? So it's going to be an interesting time for you. The Uranus transit is coming to an end for you, Taurus, so a lot of things should be settling down. If you enjoy this content, please do hit the like and subscribe. And I have more stuff like this. This is very similar to the Patreon readings, and it's also, I have private readings where I can dive in if you're into the North Node thing, and past lives, I have that soul reading, and other readings are available, so check it out. Okay, next we're going to move on to the sign of Gemini. Okay, Gemini, this is moving into this North Node, this true North, I don't want to dump this over and break it. There we go. This true north is moving into your 10th house of career, recognition, what you're shooting for in life. It's definitely a big realignment in that way. You know, I don't want to dive too much into the other astrology, but you're also going to have Uranus going into your first house this year. So you're really feeling a lot of changes and a lot of shakeups. Releasing South Node in the 4th, you want to release old family things, old foundational things that you were told that held you back, that were early imprints that made you, held you back in some way or made you feel like you couldn't, shoot for the moon up here. That's what my guys are saying, shoot for the moon. Being really aligned with what you're shooting for in life. Are you aligned with it? Do you still love it? Was it imposed, or was it imposed on you, 4th house, at some age? That, oh, well, this is weird. We're all firemen, so you'll be a fireman, or whatever, things like that. Like me, I ended up having to run that bar, and that was so not what I ever wanted to do with my life, but it was just a family thing that I ended up, responsibility into, or obligation, or different things like that. It's about releasing obligations and being more true to yourself and shooting for what you really want and questioning, have you been doing that? And if not, maybe you need to. Okay, let's do the 2 cards for Gemini for the upcoming node in Pisces. Strength. That came out in the cut. That was in another reading in the same spot. Having patience and justice. Justice will be done. Well, I feel like it's going to take strength to get, change some of these foundational things that you've been implemented into your life and that's been imposed on you. But justice could be that maybe there's going to be some legal matters resolved for some people, sure. But really more, I feel like, because the nodes are the nodes of fate or nodes of karma, that this is karmatic justice. You've done, if you're doing some career or job that you hate, or you're sacrificing yourself before your family or other people. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying don't help out family. I mean, I'm all about family, believe me. But this is a time to question that. This is a time to, those karmic cycles, if you want to go back to, if you skip the beginning, go back to that very beginning where I talk about how the karmic cycles are. You've come full circle on something here. And justice is done. Karmatic justice is done. And you're free to move on to greener pastures. That's what my guides are saying. Okay, well, if you enjoy this kind of reading, this is very similar to what I do on Patreon every week. You can check it out. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and I have personal readings available on my website. Next, we're going to go on to the sign of Cancer. All right, Cancer, well, this is going to be in your 9th house, and in the sign of Pisces, too. The North Node is transiting through your 9th house. So the 9th house is highly spiritual. It's learning, it's expanding of consciousness, it's seeing views from a different angle. They used to say it falls with the foreigners, foreign people in foreign lands, which is still true. But it's foreign to you. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone, outside of your box, because the 3rd house is your neighborhood. It's the people that you grew up with, and your early your siblings, but it's also like your friends you grew up with, your early, people you hung out with and whatever in early ages. And, you're letting go of some of that, or, you're expanding beyond it is more the better way to phrase it, I would say. You're expanding beyond that. And you may take up an interest in, even learning some esoteric arts, but you could take up an interest in learning anything. It's going to be a time of great learning, great expansion, expanding beyond, limiting thoughts, beliefs, and expanding your mind and your consciousness is a big part of it, okay? Let's get your 2 cards for our, I almost said Cancer, but for Pisces. This one wants to come too, so you're going to get an extra one. It flew off the top, and we're going to put one more. Oh, wow, talk about from the past and your childhood. That's what this card represents too. Some of you may reconnect with somebody from the childhood or the past here. That's a highly likely thing. If it's somebody that you've been dreaming about for a long time, or maybe even your first, there's something sweet and innocent about it, like childhood, siblings, or when you were kids, maybe somebody from the neighborhood, but you always, whatever happened to them, and blah, blah, blah. And they always have a special place in my heart, that kind of energy, There could be an opportunity to reconnect, but maybe I'm feeling more, it's like revisit that. To revisit that. And to revisit it, not to necessarily rekindle the relationship for everyone. I don't think that would be the case. And I think the bigger picture of it all is you could get a lot of insights into it. Thinking back on your first love, thinking back on your first crush in the neighborhood or whatever when you were a kid or whatnot. What was that all about? Now that you're older and wiser, you have the gift of wisdom and age, and you can look back on it. What was that all about? How did that set your course in life? How did that set your trajectory? And now, how can you go beyond that? How can you go beyond that? Maybe for some there's going to be a healing. Maybe you need to heal that. Maybe for others you need to recapture that sweet and innocent energy, whatever the case. But there is going to be this thing about your early childhood, the people, your soulmates, the children you play with in the neighborhood, your siblings, and re-examining it and looking at it from a higher perspective and taking it to another level. Okay, next we're going to move on to the sign of Leo or Leo rising. All right, Leo, this is going to be in your 8th house of joint finances, and the South Node is in your 2nd house of your financial gains, money and values and things like that. So you may be doing some changing up in those sectors of life. You may be changing up your financial way of doing things. Maybe you've always, did all your money on your own, and maybe now you're going to consult with a tax person or accountant, or maybe some of you have gotten when the nodes were... well, that wouldn't have been correct. It would have been in your 8th, 9th. Sorry. I'm doing quick astrological calculations here. Maybe you were, you're in a relationship now. So maybe you're going to, you always had your own, you always took care of everything. Now you're going to open a joint account. And, we're going to have a joint account for household expenses or whatever, something like that. Joint money is going to be a big area of focus right now. Or maybe you've just put the money in the bank and saved it. Now you're going to look into investing, things like that. Okay, let's take a look and do 2 cards here for our Leo friends. Let's see here. 1, 2. Justice, that card's been out before. Well, justice could be, having to do with these finances, and your ships are coming in. Yeah, so... I'm not a financial expert, and this is not financial advice, but what comes into mind right here is government bonds or something. Justice could be something through the government. But also, 8th house is, I think, contracts too. See, maybe some of you are going to be signing a contract and working in a partnership with somebody. Whatever the case, whatever this is, you will see, it looks like it could be very prosperous for you. 3 of Rods says your ships are coming in. You're going to have great success with it. And you also, because you have the power of the node helping you out. So you can work with the energy. That's always a thing. Okay, Leos, well, thanks so much for tuning in. If you want more details on your nodes, you can order a personal reading. And I do this kind of reading similar on Patreon. All right, Virgo, well, here you go. This is definitely your nodal check-in. I want to pull this chart back out again. So you guys are looking at when the nodes were in your sign, okay? I can get this tablet too. There, this will be a better way to look at it, I think. So here's the dates, Virgo. These are the dates when the North Node was in your sign. So now, the South Node is in your sign. So that means whatever cycle that you initiated during these time frames, you're halfway through it, okay? You're halfway through it. This is the midpoint check-in. You could freeze the frame, and if you want to look at those dates stronger. You're at the halfway checkpoint. You're at the midway through it. And how are you doing? How is it working out for you? Because it's the South Node that's going through your sign, what do you need to release? Maybe if it's going slow and sluggish and you're not really getting there, what do you need to release? This is overall, though, is going to be, the North Node in your 7th is going to be a lot about relationships. This is going to be relationships. This is going to be about finding balance in relationships. What do you need to concede? Maybe you have to be a little bit less rigid and a little bit more open. Or, if it's the other way around, maybe you're in a relationship with somebody who's more rigid and you have to just let that go. There has to be more flow between you and the other, and partnerships and relationships. If you're single and you're looking, you could totally meet like a major, soulmate love energy at this time. But it could be any kind of partnership, even a best friend, okay? Let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Virgo, Rising, and Sun, and whoever. Magician, looking out for number 1, and 3 of Rods. That came out in the last reading too. Well, it is kind of, it's looking like maybe for some Virgos, it's more about looking after number 1 with the Magician. Maybe you see how you are in relationships. Do you give yourself away too much in relationships? A lot of this is examining the relationship, but also it comes back to you. Do you want to be more independent? Do you want to steer the ship or drive the ship in the direction that you feel will be prosperous and successful? Maybe somebody else has been kind of, having more of the, they're showing me more like a magnet, like you're being drawn, almost like the opening segment if you didn't watch it. You have this North Node, and it's like you're being drawn in this other way by this other person's wants and needs. And this may be a time to come back to, like, what do I really want and what do I really need? And what do I have to release to obtain that? And also still maintain harmonious relationships, because after all, the North Node is going through the 7th house. Okay, Virgos, well, thanks for tuning in. If you like check your rising and moon. If you like this kind of reading, this is very similar to the readings I do on a weekly basis on Patreon. And of course, I have personal readings as well. Please do hit the like and subscribe. Next, we're going to move on to the sign of Libra. Well, Libra, the South Node just moved out of your sign. You and Aries have just been through where the sign, it was in your sign, and you were having the eclipses in your sign. I forgot to mention that for Virgo, you're going to be having eclipses that'll change. Virgos, if you're still watching, you're going to be having eclipses in your sign that could be life-changing. But now we're on to the Libra. Well, so this is a time of settling down. This is a time of settling down and thinking, okay, all the big shakeups and all the big changes that happen during the time frame of... I have it written down somewhere. Well, over the last, basically the last 18 months, I don't want to be digging through all my papers and stuff. You've been changed. I'm sure of it, And you had the South Node in your sign, so it was a lot of things that you had to let go of. Now, you're making a new plan. You're letting go of the past, 12th house, and you're focusing on 6th house. You got ambition. I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to start that new job. I'm going to start that new workout routine. You could kind of hone your energy and really make a plan that's going to work. And a lot of this, the 6th house can also be your daily habits. So you might be making I'm going to change up my daily habits. I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to eat different breakfasts. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that different. And you could have success with it at this time. Okay, let's take a look. We've got the 3 of Rods. Ships are coming in. That card has been out quite a bit, hasn't it? And then the 2 of Swords, making a decision. Well, that's what I feel like. Whatever you make a decision and you make the plan, you could be successful with it because you do have the power of the node. The other thing about the 6th house, though, it's not just, I'm waving my magic wand and, blah, blah, blah. 6th house is a house of work. It's going to require work. It's going to require effort, but you can obtain these goals. And you're going to be able to see more clearly of what things from the past that you want to let go of, and it'll be easier to let go of some of these things from the past, I would say, for many Libra and Libra risings. All right, Libra, well, thanks for tuning in. Again, if you like these kind of readings, I do something really similar on Patreon every week, so check that out. If you're interested, please hit the like and subscribe, and I am available for personal readings. Okay, here we go. Next we have the Scorpio. All right, Scorp, well, the North Node is in your 5th house of love affairs and pregnancies and creativity, and the South Node is in your 11th house here. Right away I get with the 11th house release, I feel like, letting go of needing to fit in with the group. This is a time to really let your freak flag fly, Scorpio. I mean, not that you're one to really... you're not one to cave that strongly. Scorpios are pretty strong and independent to begin with, but but there's times there may be some friend groups and different people that you're just not. It doesn't have to be, I hate you, or one of these, we're fighting over politics and you suck thing. It's more of just, I just don't vibe with them anymore. We just don't have much in common. You're seeking out new situations, and 5th house is the creativity is going to be on point here, The universe, there's other things going on too, because Neptune, Saturn, all this stuff is lining up in that 5th house, giving form to your 5th house creativity, your 5th house ideas, and what you want to manifest. If anybody out there is trying to get pregnant or wants to have children, this big fifth house activation could be major, you know, for well, you'd be giving birth to something. It could be children, could be other creative endeavors. I am Scorpio rising, and when Jupiter went through, I was having my Jupiter, and I have Jupiter there natally in the 5th. I had my Jupiter return in the 5th. I got pregnant with twins and wasn't even trying, so there you go. So that's one of the big things that will happen with 5th house energy. But it's creativity, it's your existing children, it's fun, entertainment. Some of you may be doing something that's for fun and entertainment and find a whole new group of people that are into it too, you know. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards. We got 3 around. Boy, is this card coming out or what? It's coming out for everybody practically. Your ships are coming in. And then the Page of Fire, the Page of Rods. Page of Rods and Page of Fire is, you know, fire. And we got 2, you know, fire energy going on. So you're getting all fired up. But we could be talking about maybe some of these fire sign transits. So fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So maybe some of these clues or these different, maybe if you're going to launch some creative thing, you may be better to launch it in fire sign times. Now that could be fire sign when the sun sign, but that could also be every month, every month the moon moves through all the different signs. And that's something we look at in the Patreon readings. Every week, every couple days the moon. So you might want to launch for you Sagittarius. Might want to launch in the time of Sag or when there's a Sagittarius moon because that's your 2nd house there, okay? But yeah, fire sign, having fun. Youth, there's the child again, having that youthful enthusiasm, I'm saying, youthful enthusiasm. And your ships are coming in. You know, you're going to be very happy and fulfilled by following what lights your fire. You know, what lights it. Because, you know, typically the 5th house anyway, in the flat wheel, if we look at the flat wheel would be, you know, with Aries on the ascendant. That's how I always read the charts. The flat wheel, the 5th house, is ruled by Leo. So that's that fire sign energy. Play, fun, laughter, those kinds of things. Does anybody remember laughter? I always have to say that when that comes up. All right, Scorps, if you want to know more about the nodes, I have the soul reading. If you like this format, I have the Patreon readings. Thanks for your likes and shares and comments. Next, we're going to move on to Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, you know, the south node is going and hitting on your 4th house here. I mean, not the south node. The north node is hitting your 4th house. 4th house is your very foundation. It's your home and family. This is going to be a time to focus on your home and family. Maybe some of you, you're releasing this 10th house. Maybe some of you have been really too much into your career and lost sight of that. Or lost sight of something in the 4th house, which is also like your core values and things of this nature. Lost sight of who you are or where you come from. I just have such a dry mouth this morning. I can't get my mouth keeps drying up on me. Spending more time with your home and family. Examining and diving into and delving into some of the things because you may be wanting to release habits of the 10th where how you would find success. Maybe there is some core issues that were, you know, instilled in you or programmed into you in your early foundational years that examine those, look at those. Because maybe releasing some of those as it regards to success and career could help that area of your life too. Some of you may leave a long-standing career and say, I've had enough of this, and you want to get back to that, your core of who you are. That's big, strong, finding your core and getting back to it is a strong message there, Sagittarius. Okay, we've got the Emperor. At least it's not the 3 of Rods again, right? And 6 of Cups. What did I just say? Going back to that core foundational thing. Going back to that foundational thing that who you really are. And then, you know, Emperor, excuse me, my mouth is just so dry. I don't know what's going on here. I think it's just because I've had the heat on here. It's dry heat. When I move, I really want to get I love steam heat. I want to get a boiler and steam heat. But anyways, we're talking about your 4th house. What I was saying, how sometimes things are, you know, imposed on you. Authority, Emperor's authority figure. You know, so there may be, or even, you know, have you been too, with the Virgo energy, have you been too, you're usually not, but have you been too hard on yourself? You know, even though you're lighthearted, Mr. and Mrs. Lighthearted Sagittarius over here, You probably could have planets in Scorpio. You could have planets in Capricorn. And both of those signs can be pretty rigid and strong at times, you know. So getting back to that more being in flow, getting back to more of, you know, your childhood, examining it. Was there somebody who put the kibosh on you and said, no, you'll never be this, you know, you can't do that, blah, 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 and crushed your dreams or something, you know. Examine that and dispel it and move on with your life. Okay, next we're going to look at Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, the North Node is transiting through your 3rd house, and then the South Node is transiting through your 9th house. Okay, so 9th house is all about expanded consciousness and getting downloads and learning and growing. You know, it's great energy. But sometimes we got to bring it back down and get organized. And if some of you, maybe you were doing research and now you're going to write that book, or write that composition, that music, or write that, maybe you were doing research and now you're going to make a video about it, or do something with it. Communicate it. Communication is strong. Your immediate environment, like your neighborhood, your home, short distance travel, more focus on that. Getting to know things around. I'm hearing that. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. Yeah, getting to know people in your neighborhood, maybe joining in with civic groups. The stronger thing I really get with it, though, is, because Capricorn's like, I don't have time for that. That's what I'm hearing from the collective Capricorns out there. So the strongest thing I got, and the first impression I got, was like organizing and writing that thing. You've done the field work, you've done the exploration, you've done the research. Maybe you've even been getting into some expanding consciousness stuff. And now it's a time to kind of assess it all. Great time to start journaling. Definitely journaling, and dream journaling is a big, strong thing as well. Okay, let's cut 2 cards for Capricorns. Wheel of Fortune, look out, Capricorn, and Ace of Rods. Great time to start some. Timing is right to start that thing, to put it into words, to put it into action. 3rd house, to get it organized and put it out into the world. Wheel of Fortune, you know, timing is big. You know, Wheel of Fortune means things are, the divine timing's at work. You'll have synchronicities, you'll have luck, you'll have things that are falling into place. This is the time to start that thing, whatever you've been exploring and learning, and now it's time to kind of bring it back down to earth, put it in some kind of a format, even if it's a format of your own mind. Maybe it's just journaling and going over your thoughts and just figuring things out. But for many of you, I feel like you're going to maybe launch some kind of a book, launch some kind of even like a video, like you've done the research and now you're going to do a video, or your thesis or something. If you have been in school, maybe this could be, you know, you're going to submit your thesis or something like that. So writing, communicating, bringing it back down into and organizing it into something that is, you know, you're able to communicate. Your writing of all sorts is going to be great right now. Some of you might even start channeling with this Pisces energy. All right, Capricorns, well, this is very similar to what I do in the Patreon reading, so if you like that, you might want to sign up for that. It helps out me and the channel as well, as does liking and subscribing. It costs nothing. Check it out. And I have personal readings available. Okay, next we're going to move to the sign of Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, well, the North Node's down here in your 2nd house of money and finance, so that's going to be a big thing. South Node into the 8th house, so letting go. I mean, some of you may be taking more of a personal look into your finances. This would be the time to do it. If you do let somebody else handle your money, like an accountant or, you know, whoever, a financial manager or whatever they call those people, you know, you might want to take a look and see what's going on here. Maybe there's some, I mean, I'm not saying that people are stealing, but in some cases that could be. Or maybe you just don't, you're not used to saying, well, why are we doing this? Doesn't that seems wasteful? Or maybe we could, you know, going over those finances in partnerships too. Some of you may be ending a partnership, a business or financial partnership, and you're going to have to start doing things yourself. But taking initiatives in your money and finances, this is a good time to focus on that because you do have that energy pointing in that direction. Okay, let's get 2 cards for our Aquarius. Let's see what we got here. 8 of Rods, taking action. Things moving quickly. towards 8 of Cups. 2 8s. 8s are money numbers too. 8 is Saturn and 8 is money. 8 is Saturn and 8 is Capricorn and 8 is money numbers. So if you're dealing with a Capricorn in particular, some of you are going to take your business elsewhere. That's what I just came through super strong. You're going to leave, even if it's somebody that you've been with for a really long time, and you're just like, you know what, I'm taking my business elsewhere. It could be like if you have a long-term client, you're the client and they're the client, business partnership of some sort, client relationship. I can't get the words out for some reason. You may be just saying, you know what, I think I'm just gonna take my business elsewhere. Maybe there's no hard feelings. Maybe there was nothing shady going on. But in this card, the moon is standing out to me, and there was something unknown is standing out to me before. If you allow somebody else to handle your finances, you better get in there and see what's going on, because there could be some unknown things to you. Maybe it's shady, but maybe it's just like you don't agree with it or you don't approve of it or something like that. Some of you, this could be a relationship ending. I'll just say it right out, and that's why the money is going to have to come back to you. Maybe you had a partner that you were sharing expenses with, and maybe it was even them. Even if you're in a partnership, just in your household, and one person pays all the bills, maybe you need to, let's see what's going on. Open up those ledgers and see what's going on there. But also, if you're wanting to make a big change, because that's more what I get out of the cards for this, if you're wanting to make a big change, this would be the time to do it. As far as your money and finance goes, maybe you want to look for another job. Maybe you're going to change careers altogether. Maybe you're going to even take on a second job or something like that. And then, if that were the case, if you were to take on like a second part-time job or side hustle, as they call it, that may eventually, with this node in the second house, that could turn into your full-time thing, by the time we get through next year in July. So it's going to be different for everybody. Pay attention to those eclipses with this moon popping up. Now, those eclipses are going to be, for this upcoming year anyway, the eclipses are going to be March 14th, well, in Pisces. Well, in Virgo and Pisces. Full moon 14th. That could be the discovery, okay? Then we'll have one in Aries, but then in the fall. It's going to be a lot in the fall, my 8th month. Well, 8 is Leo, Aries. 8 is August, and then the 9th month we're having this. So August into the 9th month, we're going to have September 7th and September 21st. This is when some of these eclipses are going to hit. I haven't brought that out for anybody else, but for your case, that's really coming to the forefront, that could be very impactful. All right, Aquarius, well, thanks for tuning in. If you like this kind of reading, I do something very similar on the weekly over on Patreon. And then, secondly, please do hit that like and subscribe. It costs nothing. And I have readings on my site. If you want to look into more about the nodes and the past life stuff, if that intrigues you, I have that soul reading. One more sip of water from my poor dry mouth here. I can't. It's so dry. And then, finally, we're going to do Pisces. Well, Pisces, the node's in your sign. So the energy is on you. This is about focusing on you. This is about finding your true north, aligning with your true north. There's a lot of energy in your sign right now. The nodes are also karmic, and you also have Saturn going through your sign. So there is a lot of karmic energy with Pisces, But I mean, Pisces, you come in with this old soul karmic stuff anyway. I mean, you're so right there anyway, right? So it's going to be intense. It could be deep. It could be soul-searching. It could be deep. It's finding out who you really are, what you really want to do, who you are on a soul level. Releasing some 7th house stuff, releasing other people's influence. But you're so watery, and you're so, you just absorb all that stuff. I can see how you fall into that. So this is a time to examine that, who you are within yourself, not mirrored back from the other so much. Who you are in others' eyes, but who you are in your own eyes and in your own soul and your own essence, and where you want to direct your life. Okay, let's see. Let's get 2 cuts for the Pisces. We've got the 4 of Pentacles, some money stuff, followed by the 9 of Pentacles. So this is looking like some big financial gains. Well, when you follow your true soul's calling and your true soul essence, that you do. Everything opens up. You could flourish financially. You could flourish health, it echoes out in all kinds of different directions. This seems to be really a lot about some kind of financial thing that you're not going through, but going into. Well, not really North Node related. A couple of big planets are going to move into your 7th house over the summer months of this year, so could be like that. But yeah, some of you, both of these guys stand on their own too, if you notice that. So some of you may start your own business or some kind of a thing where it's, you're running it on yourself and you're independent. And it could be to the point where you are comfortable and you're doing well with it. But a lot of it starts with you. It starts with you realizing who you are, what you want to be, who you want to be. Because she knows who she wants to be and she's thriving away. She's comfortable financially, but she's got her garden, she's got her bird, she's got her clothes. She's just at ease. Being at ease within yourself and expressing your true soul's essence that echoes out and comes into the 3D reality. Okay? Alright, so this is the reading for everybody. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe. It costs nothing. If you like this format, I do something really similar on a weekly over on Patreon, and that helps support this channel as well. Remember, you all are love and beauty incarnate, and we'll be back again with another video. Till next time. Bye.